In this video, I'm going to be going over how isolating yourself and isolation is destroying you. All right. Isolation is very common. It's like a epidemic amongst men these days, especially middle-aged men. A lot of us are very lonely and we stay in this state of isolation that is destroying us and destroying many opportunities in our life. And this is spoken from self-experience. I've experienced many periods of isolation that have just like destroyed me mentally. And I'm going to go over exactly how it affects you. So let's describe some of the ways that men are becoming isolated these days. Okay, so when you're young and you're like in high school and college, like you're pretty much forced to be around people. And you have these friends as well, just by accident, just by being around them in class or in any sports or any clubs or anything you join during school. You sort of like accidentally develop these friendships. And hopefully they remain lifetime friendships, but a lot of times that doesn't happen. But as you age and you get into your 30s, typically what happens, and this is just the way modern society works, is typically what happens to your friends or even yourself. Okay, they end up getting married, or you end up getting married. Okay? And for some reason in today's modern day society, like when you get married to somebody and you have kids and you live in the same household, they sort of become your tribe. You have like this small tribe of like, this family that you created. And men, okay, they end up becoming whipped, right? They become whipped, especially early on in the relationship. Men become so fascinated by the woman that they're with because it's new and it's fun and they're just, they're getting laid all the time and just having this great time, and you're releasing all these chemicals and you literally become addicted to the woman that you're with. So what happens to your friend when he gets in a relationship with a hot babe? Right? You don't see him anymore. He bails on you. No longer can you guys go out like maybe just once a week, maybe get together and drink some coffee or play some chess or play some basketball. They're gone. They're gone. Peace. I have my woman now. I have a constant supply of dopamine every time I have sex with her. I don't need your dopamine anymore. I don't need the dopamine that you provide me with anymore by doing these fun, manly activities. So in the beginning of the relationship, your friend becomes whipped or you become whipped. Okay, but over time, that excitement wears out. Okay, in like 1 to 3 years, you guys become used to each other and it's no longer fun. Okay, it's a partnership at this time. Okay, and the woman, and this is a lot of what I observed and what I have experienced, is the woman unconsciously and subconsciously, a woman wants to control everything a man does. She wants to control her partner. Okay, and this is just a subconscious survival mechanism because women know subconsciously that men are polygamous creatures. So women want to like isolate the man and prevent him from going out and possibly acquiring new mates because they know men are polygamous. Why do you think they get mad when you look at another woman? Even if you're not checking her out, you just happen to glance at another woman. They get mad. They like slap you and they argue with you and they yell at you if they're toxic. I'm not saying all women are this way, but all women know. Okay. So they try to like control you and like manipulate you and they want you all to themselves. And if you want to go out with your buddies, 3 years into the relationship because, this isn't fun and exciting anymore, and they want to actually go out and start having fun again, they get mad at you, right? They're passive aggressive. They'll tell you, oh yeah, that's fine. You can go out with Jason and Kyle. That's fine. But then like when you leave, they're just pissed off. And then when you get back home, they're passive aggressive. Maybe they don't let you have any action that night. They do weird stuff like that. This is just human nature, by the way. Like, I'm not talking down on women, but this is just the way things are. This is how we're biologically programmed. So unfortunately, Even 2 to 3 years in the relationship, when the man, like, this is no longer that much fun anymore, which the man isolated himself with the woman because it was fun at first. Now the woman has like a grasp on this man, especially if they have children, and she doesn't allow him to go out with Jason and Kyle and Rob anymore. Or maybe she does, but it's not worth the arguments and stuff that he gets into. So he just doesn't do it anymore. So men just end up isolating themselves and becoming very depressed because men need other men in this life. Okay, we need each other. We need to do manly activities together. It makes us happy. It makes us feel alive. It makes us feel like men. I mean, just think, thousands of years ago, what did we do? Like men, we went to battle together. Okay, we were like wrestling around and preparing for war and battle together. We're warriors by nature. And we'd go out hunting together for days at a time and then bring back, food for the tribe. And like men are programmed to be with other men and do manly stuff. And then we come home to our woman and they give us the feminine energy that we crave and we need and we desire. But in modern day society, unfortunately, men have become isolated. Okay? And isolation is killing men. And if you're a single man and you're isolated, it's much worse than if you have a partner. Unless the partner is super toxic and she's destroying you, it is much worse being isolated. So this is kind of how isolation occurs. Or maybe you're on the other end of the spectrum. Or this isn't the other end of the spectrum. This is actually pretty normal now. A lot of men are not getting married, are not having kids, but all their friends are. So they become super isolated. They get put in this bubble of isolation, and all their friends are, in these relationships where their woman doesn't want them to do anything. And then they're just completely isolated. Okay, and this has happened to me. It's actually happening to me currently, and I feel very strongly about this subject, and that's why I want to go over it. So what happens to you when you become isolated? Okay, and you feel like nobody wants to hang out with you as a man. You start to become depressed. Okay, you start to feel worthless. Like nobody wants you. Okay, and you have no kids to take care of, which gives a man a great amount of responsibility and purpose. So you start to feel worthless, unfortunately. Okay, you start to feel shameful, like nobody wants you. You start to feel like you're not needed in society and that nobody wants you. So then you create this energy of like unworthiness, and it's a downward spiral. So the more worthless and shameful you feel, the less you start to go out and mingle with people because you feel like nobody wants to talk to you. So you're like, nobody wants me. Society doesn't want me. So then you isolate yourself even more. And then those feelings become even more exaggerated. And then you isolate yourself even more. And it's a downward spiral that leads to a very unfortunate state of despair. And it's very hard to get out of and break that cycle. So this is what happens when you isolate yourself. Okay? And you're probably not doing it on purpose. Okay? It's probably just happened by life circumstances. And plus, you start to feel unworthy of a relationship, which can possibly get you out of that feeling of worthlessness and, nobody wants me and I'm not good enough. So you just isolate yourself. You don't even date anymore. You stop hanging out. You stop even trying to do community activities anymore. But I'm here to tell you, you need to break that cycle. You need to break that cycle because it's not true. It's not that the world doesn't like you. It's not that the world thinks you're useless. It's not true. It's all in your head. Okay, it's all in your head. So you need to get out there. You need to get out there and start doing things again. If you're at the gym, you need to start having conversations with people. Okay? At work, try to develop relationships with your coworkers. Try to go out with them, possibly. All right? Start doing meetups, going to meetup groups. Start playing, play pickleball at the gym and meet some people. Play basketball. That will break the cycle of feeling worthless and shameful and isolating yourself. Okay, and you need to do it on a regular basis. At least, I would say at least once a week, a couple times a week. You need to get out there and be around other people. Even if it's your family, your parents, your brothers and sisters, cousins, like just get out there and be around people, because the more you isolate yourself, the more it goes into a downward spiral and you can't get out of it. Okay. And trust me, you are worth it. You are worthy. People do want you. It's all in your head. Okay. Do not isolate yourself. All right. And this is something I feel very strongly about, because if you ever see homeless men on the street, right? If you see a homeless, I live in downtown Tampa, so I see a ton of homeless men just sitting on park benches. And when you walk past them, if they're not trying to panhandle, if you walk past them, they won't even make eye contact with you. They just look down at the ground and they're probably just stuck in their thoughts. Like, how did I get here? I feel unworthy. People hate me. People think I'm an animal. And a lot of people do think they're animals. Unfortunately, they're not. They're just men who have hit an unfortunate part of their lives. Okay, but they're homeless because they're so far down this spiral and feeling of unworthiness, and they must have lost employment, that they can't get themselves out of it. Okay, like they feel so unworthy they can't even make eye contact with people. That's how unworthy they feel. So you need to break this cycle of isolation. Isolation is a huge problem amongst men these days. And men, I'm here to tell you that you are worth it. You have a ton of value to provide to society. There is a woman that would be more than happy to have you. Okay, so get out there, start meeting with people. Don't isolate yourself, because it's only going to get worse. The more you isolate yourself, the harder it is to break out of it. You give off this energy of shame and unworthiness that people can feel, and it almost sort of manifests. So, and also keep on working on yourself as well. If you're isolating yourself, make sure you're working out, make sure you're reading books, make sure you're constantly improving yourself. Okay, because if you're just playing video games and isolating yourself and jerking off and not doing anything because you're so depressed and unmotivated, it is going to be a dark downward spiral that's going to be difficult to get out of. But I believe that you'll get out of it eventually. In some way or another, you'll be forced to. So I just wanted to go over this real quick. This is how isolation will destroy you if you let it. And this is kind of how it happens in today's modern day society. So men, get out there. Again, you're worthy. Start talking to people. Start mingling with people. There are people out there that want you around them. All right? All right, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.